The title of the book is Miracle at the Plate. The author is Matt Christopher. Setting. This book takes place in a baseball field in Idaho, and it takes place in a small neighborhood that is near the baseball field. Main characters. The main characters in this book are Skeeter Miracle, Skeeter's friend Shadow, and Skeeter's baseball teammate Tommy Scott. Main events. One day, Skeeter was riding his bike home from baseball practice and accidentally ran over Tommy Scott's dog Poncho's leg. Skeeter felt badly and brought Poncho to the vet. Then Skeeter went on vacation and asked his friend Shadow to feed his falcon Gus and let him out for some exercise. One day, Shadow fed Gus and let him out for some exercise, but when Shadow let Gus out, Gus didn't come back. Problem. Skeeter broke Tommy's dog's leg and tried to fix the problem without telling Tommy what happened. Another conflict that happened was that while Shadow was watching Skeeter's falcon Gus, Shadow let Gus out and Gus didn't come back. Conclusion. Tommy forgives Skeeter for hurting his dog and Poncho's leg heals well. Also, at the end of Skeeter's last baseball game, Gus returns and Skeeter feels so happy. I really enjoyed this book because I love baseball. I would recommend this book to anyone who likes baseball because it has baseball games in it that are really interesting to read about.
The title of this book is Babysitting is a Dangerous Job. The author is Willow Davis Roberts. The setting is at the foster kids' house and at the secret country hideout of kidnappers. The main characters are Darcy, the foster kids, two Doberman pinschers, the kidnappers, Dan, Henry, and Pa, Darcy's friend Irene, and Darcy's mother. The main events in this story are that Darcy gets a job babysitting the foster kids. Then, while Darcy is babysitting, they get kidnapped and taken to the kidnappers' hideout. Finally, Darcy and the foster kids are safe thanks to some wasps, and the kidnappers are arrested. The problem is that the kidnappers try several times to get into the house. Finally, the kidnappers are more cautious and are able to get into the house and trap the kids. The conclusion is that Jeremy helps Darcy knock down a wasp's nest, and the wasps attack the kidnappers. While that's happening, Darcy and Jeremy are flagging down a passing police car, and they come and arrest the kidnappers and get Darcy and the foster kids to safety. I would recommend this book to a friend because I found it to have a lot of things that you wouldn't really expect to happen next. I'd also recommend this book to a friend because it combines a lot of different genres together, like mystery and adventure. The end.
The Dragon's Boy. Author, Gene Yolen. The setting, the Dragon's Cave and Arthur's Castle. The main characters are Dragon and the Old Lincolns and Arthur's. The main events of the book are when Arthur's got the sword and when the dragon taught Arthur's to make a riddle. And when Arthur's completed his teaching and called himself the Dragon's Boy. Arthur's can't fight, and his three brothers are teaching him and are bossing him around. Arthur goes to a cave. He meets an old dragon that said he would teach him how to fight. Conclusion. Arthur finds an old dragon in a cave that said he would teach him how to fight. Finally, Arthur's training is finished, and he said he was the Dragon's Boy! Yes, I would recommend this book to a friend because it was an interesting book and adventurous. Dun, 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 dun.
And I read the book Thatcher Me, and now I'm going to talk to you about it. The author is Dan Gutman. Setting, there are a few settings, so there are a few places. 2 baseball fields, they're separate, a diner, and being on the road in the car. The main characters are Joe Stoshak, Flip Valentini, Satchel Paige, and Laverne. The problem/conflict is Joe Stoshak wants to know how fast Satchel Paige pitched as a player. Flip and Joe try to find things in the baseball encyclopedia that can help them. Conclusion. Flip and Joe go back in time with a picture of Satch and a radar gun to clock his speed, and then use new cards to get back to the present day. Main events. Satch, Joe, and Flip went together to Pittsburgh. First, Satch had to play a game with another team against the Indianapolis Clowns. He said if somebody gives him money, he takes it and plays. When they got to Pittsburgh, Satch would play the Homestead Grace. Satch struck out the great Josh Gibson, best hitter in baseball, to end an inning with the bases loaded. After the game, in the same field, they took out the radar gun to see how fast Satch could pitch. Then they heard a loud boom, a gunshot. Laverne's dad had shot the radar gun in Joe's hand. Joe went into the dugout, took out a baseball card, and transported home. I would recommend this book to a friend because Dan Gutman is a really, really, really good author, and his books are the best in the world.
Hello, and my name is Danny Brett, and this book is called Tough to Tackle. Author is Matt Christopher. Setting at a high school football field and high school. Main characters coming out is Boots, Bud, Duck, and not first but least, Leo. Main events. There is a championship game. Boots could not play tackle because his last game he yelled at the ref because the ref made a bad call. The coach sat him out, and the player that was playing for Boots got hurt. So Boots got to play in the second quarter. They ended up winning the championship game because Boots made the best block at fourth and goal. Next page, problem and solution. Boots wants to play quarterback, but he can't because he's tackle. Conclusion. Mr. Davis said his hardest position is tackle, and Boots wants to now play the best tackle that he ever did on the team. Would I recommend this book to a friend? Yes. Yes, because it's the best book. It's so funny, and it's really good. Yeah, it's interesting and a good book. Enjoyable. My name is Danny Brett, and I improved this message.
Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows by J.K. Rowling. This book has many different settings. The main settings are Harry's campsite, which is deep in a forest, Shell Cottage, which is on the coast, the Forbidden Forest, and Hogwarts School. There are also different settings such as Malfoy Manor, the Dungeons of Hogwarts, and the Gringotts Bank, which is where wizards take their money. The main characters in the story are Harry Potter, Ron Weasley, Hermione Granger, and Voldemort and Professor Lupin. The main events are that Harry sets off on an adventure to find all of the Voldemort's Horcruxes, which are items that can contain part of someone's soul. During his journey, Harry and his friend Ron get into a fight and separate. Ron had one of the Horcruxes around his neck, and it possessed him and made him behave in a cruel way towards his friends. Harry and Ron meet up when they both see the same ghostly silver go that leads them back together. In this book, Harry never gets all the Horcruxes, but they lead him to the mystery of the Deathly Hallows. Harry finds out about the Deathly Hallows, which are 3 items that give the person who has them to be master or vanquisher of death. He sets out to get them. During his quest, he vanishes Voldemort and finds the Deathly Hallows. However, he gives them to Draco Malfoy because Harry learned that they should have only been passed down the Malfoy family. Draco Malfoy was the true master of the Deathly Hallows. Harry knew that he wouldn't use them for evil. The main problem in the story is that Harry must find all the Deathly Hallows, but there are twists at every turn. Voldemort and his followers are trying to find and kill Harry. Harry also had to decide if he should go find Horcruxes or Hallows. It was a difficult decision because his friends are pointing him in different directions. Also, Harry must finally destroy Voldemort because Harry had reached the age of 17, which is the age he was told he would do this.
The conclusion in this story is that Harry finds most of the Horcruxes, which weakens Voldemort in the final battle. In the end, Harry duels with Voldemort and wins when he casts a spell at the same time Voldemort cast a killing curse. The killing curse rebounded and hit Voldemort instead of Harry. In the end, Voldemort killed himself. Also in the end, Harry finds all of the Deathly Hallows by taking Voldemort's wand and discovering it was the last Hollow. Harry returned the Hollows to their final master, Draco Malfoy. Depending on the type of reader, I would recommend this book. It is a big book and it is magical fiction. It is a great book to people who like this genre and size. The end.
The BFG by Ronald Dahl. The setting is in Giant Country. The main characters are Sophie and the BFG, the Big Friendly Giant. First, Sophie saw the BFG, and then he captured her and took her to his keep. After that, Sophie realized that 9 big giants were going to England every night to eat little boys and girls. Then the BFG and Sophie told the Queen of England, and she told her army to go get them. So the army got all 9 giants and put them into a 500-foot hole. The problem is that 9 big giants go out to England every night to eat little boys and girls. The conclusion is that Sophie and the BFG told the Queen of England, and she told her army to get the giants. So the Queen's army got all the 9 giants and put them into a 500-foot hole. I would recommend this book to a friend because I enjoyed this book and thought it had a lot of imagination in it.
The title of the book is Judy Moody Gets Famous. The author is Megan McDonald. The settings are Judy's house, school, the hospital, Jessica Flinch's house, and outside. The main characters are Judy, Sink, Mouse, Judy's cat, Rocky, Frank, and Jessica. Main events: when Judy got to school, her friend Jessica was wearing a tiara. She won. Judy was jealous, so after school, she looked through a box full of memories. She looked for stuff to make her famous. She went downstairs to eat cherries. Then she had an idea. She got a cherry pit, framed it, and said, "I'm going to put this on display for people to see my famous 100-year-old cherry pit." The problem is, Judy Moody wants to be famous, but every time she messes up. One time she broke someone's fingers, and another time she was ready to get her picture taken in the news, but Mouse jumped out of the picture and she had to chase him. The conclusion: Judy Moody once took dolls from the hospital, gave them a makeover, fixed them, and then returned them, and they thanked her. Would you recommend this book? Yes, I would recommend this book to a friend because it was funny and it always had a happy ending.
The title of my book is Ralph as Mouse. The author is Beverly Clearly. The story takes place at the Mountain View Inn at a hotel on a dark and stormy night and the whole school. The main characters are Ralph, Ryan, Miss Kay, and Ralph's cousins. The main events in this story are when Ralph decides that he might take his motorcycle and just leave. Then he meets a series of people on his many adventures. The problem in the story is when Ralph's bike gets broken into 2 pieces. The conclusion is Ralph's friend Ryan has a bully, and the bully breaks Ralph's bike, so he gets a new one for him. And then Ryan and the bully become friends. I might recommend this book, but it depends on who the people are. Because some of my friends love this kind of book with talking animals, and some don't love it as much.